The xenobiology lab at Kepler Station hummed with the constant whir of life support systems. But tonight, that mechanical drone was overwhelmed by something far more primal, the desperate wailing of 3 alien cubs. Dr. Marcus Webb had left hours ago, his frustrated muttering about impossible subjects still echoing in the sterile corridors. The research team had given up at 0300 hours, their sedatives and neural dampeners proving useless against whatever torment gripped the small creatures. Thomas Rivera pushed his maintenance cart through the lab's entrance, wincing at the cacophony. 20 years of janitorial work on deep space stations had prepared him for many things, but the sound cutting through the recycled air reminded him too much of his own children crying in the middle of the night, back when Earth was still home. The cubs, no bigger than house cats but covered in iridescent scales that shifted color with each sob, were housed in a biocontainment unit that supposedly provided optimal comfort. Temperature-controlled, atmosphere-regulated, nutrition delivered via precise 4 drips. Everything the scientists calculated they needed, except it clearly wasn't working. Rivera approached the containment unit, his heavy boots echoing against the polished floor. The cubs' cries intensified as his shadow fell across their enclosure. Their large, multifaceted eyes tracked his movement with an intelligence that made his chest tighten. These weren't just specimens. They were children, separated from everything they knew. "Hey there, little ones," Rivera whispered, his voice barely audible over the wailing. He'd done this before, not with alien cubs, but with his daughter Maria when she was teething, with his son Carlos during those endless nights of colic. The species didn't matter. Distress was universal, ignoring the biohazard protocols that would have Dr. Webb writing him up for weeks. Rivera activated the emergency access panel. The containment field shimmered and dissolved. Immediately, the lab's atmosphere mixed with the cub's specialized environment, triggering alarms that he quickly silenced with his maintenance override codes. The cubs' cries didn't stop, but they huddled together, watching him with those enormous eyes. Rivera extended his hand slowly, palm up, the way he might approach a frightened animal. The scales on the nearest cub shifted from agitated red to curious amber. "It's okay," he murmured, settling his large frame onto the cold floor beside their enclosure. "I know you're scared. New place, new people, everything smells wrong." One cub, braver than the others, crept forward on 6 delicate legs. Its scales shimmered between blue and green as it sniffed Rivera's callous fingers. When it didn't retreat, Rivera gently scooped it up, supporting its surprisingly light body against his chest. The crying didn't stop immediately, but it softened. Rivera began to rock, the same gentle motion that had soothed 2 human children decades ago. He hummed tunelessly under his breath, not a lullaby, exactly, but something rhythmic and low. The cub in his arms gradually relaxed, its scales settling into a peaceful violet hue. Emboldened, the other 2 cubs approached. Soon, Rivera found himself on the lab floor with 3 alien children pressed against him, their cries fading to soft chirps and eventually to silence. Their scales pulsed gently with bioluminescent patterns that seemed to synchronize with his heartbeat. As Kepler Station's artificial dawn began to filter through the viewports, Dr. Webb arrived to find his test subjects sleeping peacefully. Rivera sat perfectly still, his back aching from hours against the wall, 3 small aliens curled in his lap like oversized, iridescent kittens. "Rivera, what the hell?" Webb began. "They just needed someone to hold them," Rivera said quietly, careful not to wake the cubs. "Sometimes that's all anyone needs." Webb stared at the scene, his anger dissolving into something resembling wonder. In all his years of xenobiology, he'd never seen the cubs so calm. "How did you know?" Rivera looked down at the sleeping creatures, their scales now a warm golden color that reminded him of sunset on Earth. Same way I knew with my own kids, he said. You listen. You hold them. You don't let them cry alone in the dark. The cubs stirred slightly at his voice, their scales flickering brighter for a moment before settling back into peaceful gold. Outside the viewports, the stars wheeled silently through space, indifferent to the small miracle of comfort shared between species in the sterile heart of human ambition. Sometimes, Rivera reflected, the most advanced technology in the universe couldn't replace the simple act of caring.